Let's see. Is it showing up properly? I got a little weird error from OBS. So it might not be, but I think that it is.
Okay.
It thinks that it's sending. Yes, we're good. All right. We are super professional, folks. Hello, everyone out there in the internet. We are here for the final session of Trophy Gold Tomb of the Serpent Kings. I will be your dungeon manager for the day, Technoscald, aka Kyle. We are short a player today, as you will notice. Our very good friend Kaya had, to be fair, had a really cool weekend going to visit a friend and going to concerts and stuff and generally living her best life. But she couldn't be here today. We will deal with the in-character implications of that at the very beginning of the actual session. But in the meantime, how you doing, Mike?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Having a good weekend, and I know you've got a lot of stuff going on. Tell us about Parda. Who are you playing?
I'm playing Parda, a woodcutter who is now a Kingsguard who wants to revive the cult of Darwin.
Excellent. And Chase, I know I haven't talked to you in so long. It's been
I
like
haven't seen you since like
13
12
hours
hours
ago.
ago. Yeah,
Yeah, something like
give or
that.
take.
Yeah. Um, I am curious. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your new character? And then I'll figure out how we're going to jam them in real quick. I have an idea.
Yeah, I would love to. So since my previous character got oozified, as you do,
As
I
one
am
does, yes.
Yeah, I am currently playing Tully, a bright-eyed, once an expelled apprentice, now a goat herd. My character's one desire is to win the auction for Princess Illyria's weapon collection, and to be honest, he's just happy to be involved. He's just excited to be here.
Does he... Well, I'll come back to the questions in a minute. I am super glad. One of the great things about this game is that characters are so easy to generate, which is important in any kind of high lethality game.
This is the fastest I've ever been able to generate a character.
It's
For like sessions that I'm super settings I'm super familiar with. I can generate like 5 characters in a minute here. It's great.
Yeah, because it's so rules light, right? There's just not most of the character is in your head, not on the character sheet. Speaking of which, how about Sed? How you doing?
Good. I'll be playing Sed, the antiquarian, former abandoned squire, and he's gonna die soon. So, don't get too attached. He's trying to publish his discoveries from ancient Kaldur if he can make it out of this mess.
What I think we'll do, by the way, though, the two of you who are at 5 Ruin, should you reach 6 Ruin too early, your character will still obviously be doomed, but we might just have them still continue to participate in various ways, maybe not participating in the roles.
Sure.
But, kind of as their descent into whatever horrible fate befalls them takes a few minutes. Okay. You are. Do you remember the? Anybody want to review for us the circumstance in which the 3 of you, but 3 not including Toli, but temporarily including Dez, find yourselves?
We just saw. I'm forgetting, Chase, your former character's name already.
Aram.
What was it? Say it again.
Aram.
Yes. We saw Aram touch a statue and turn into jelly, or what did he touch?
I believe there was an ooze in the statue.
Oh, okay.
Because we were going through the statues, and one happened to have was hollow. Theoretically had cool stuff. It had uncool stuff, and then uncool things happened.
I mean, it was cool for me.
Yeah, this
Oh,
was
yeah.
in the room with a bunch of statues.
Yeah.
And we were being kind of lax about our checking things, as you
Yeah, we
do.
managed to avoid the trap at least.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I think it felt to me like you got a little confident. Oh, we found the trap. We're okay now.
Yeah, that's the one thing that we had to worry about. Lo and behold, editor's note, they had 2 things minimum to worry about at any given time.
Live and learn.
Well,
Or
not
don't
really,
live.
or not. Well, some of you lived, but in the next, so then that was where Aram got, as you said, oozified, melted. And when we say melted, it's not like he just melted and died. He kind of turned into another one of those kind of black pudding ooze type things. After all, the dungeon while we are not playing D&D, the dungeon we are playing through was originally designed to teach old school D&D type games. So there's a lot of the flavor that obviously that leaks through. And then the next room that you're in, anybody remember what happened in there?
They descended. I know because I was mostly observing at this point, and it was a fantastic show to watch. They descended into a further crypt that had a bunch of disquietingly realistic statues of adventurers, the gabloons, etc.
Bats,
We heard-
spiders, etc. Yeah.
We didn't hear. They heard chains rattling in the distance, and rounded a corner to find a giant lizard with spinny eyes. I believe was the stopping point. Yeah, that.
Yes. Not a skull, but, the eyes
Yeah.
like this. And had a chain hanging from around its neck, which was the grinding sound you had heard. So, as we come back to this, Dez had gotten caught by this creature and had found her skin beginning to harden, her movement becoming difficult. And she used her ritual, which was... What was the name? I remember what it does. I don't remember the exact name of the ritual. Let me look. Was it Vivify? No.
It was I don't remember the exact name either, but she turned into a golem, right? Of some sort.
Yeah, so she was... Because what she could do is she could turn other things into like a... basically,
She could animate things.
She could animate objects into like little humanoid puppets, and she kind of used that type of ritual for herself. She's gonna look at this and she's like, "Oh, it's enliven. Give flesh and breath to a human effigy." That's what she had. So she used the ritual on herself with blood magic, and that did force off the effect of this 8-legged lizard staring into her. But you see that where she let me pull this back up, where she had cut herself for this, you see just the blood continuing to pour. And then after a moment, the blood starts to pour from her eyes, but the blood rapidly changes to pouring stone dust coming from her. And she looks at you all, and her voice sounds different. Very different. It's like this scratchy sound from down inside. And she looks at the two of her compatriots who are still there. Join us.
I mean, we're already here. I feel like we don't really... How do we join? I mean, we're already here.
In this room, I mentioned that there were these little stone statues and broken pillars. And she walks over to one of the broken pillars and puts her arms around it. And you see her just flex her arms and her shoulders and after a moment there's a cracking sound, and the stone pillar breaks off of its base, and she picks it up, and she swings around to the two of you, and she says again, "Join us."
Not sure what you want us to do, but just Parda, we should probably get out of here now that our friend is a animated statue.
Parda, what do you do?
Yeah, I agree. Did you want to run away or?
Yeah, let's get out.
And keep in mind this other kind of lizard-looking. It's got this long, flat head full of teeth and these spoopy eyes, and a chain around his neck.
I'm not looking at it directly. I'm just gonna book it and run. What are our options and directions?
So obviously, there's the way you came in from that sort of statuary, I believe that it was. Let me pull back up and see where you were. Yes, you were in a statuary with all these hollow clay statues of snake men. In the room where you are now, it's a stone chamber. There's, I mentioned before, an open passage to what looks like some kind of medical room or laboratory or hospital or something. And then a couple of other passageways that seem to lead slightly up.
We haven't been to the hospital area, right?
You have not.
Yeah, I sounds good to me. It's not here.
Yeah, I'll follow.
All right. She takes the pillar, slams it down into the ground, cracks Spider out in the stone floor, and the creature that's in here with you easily maintains its footing. It's got so many legs that it's and low center of gravity. What are you doing about that monster?
Is it in the hospital room?
No, it's in this hall, this large hall where you are, this large stone chamber.
So it's blocking the way?
If you run away from it, it might be able to do something as you're getting away, is kind of what I'm saying.
Oh, can I splash some tar in its face?
Ooh. That sounds like a good plan. I think it's a little risky.
Sure.
So what is it you're hoping will happen when you do this?
It'll stick to its face, especially its eyes, and so it will make it much more difficult to see people running by it and attack people running by it.
All right. Chase and Mike, what do you think could go wrong with this plan?
You could slip while shooting the tar, or throwing the tar, and it could hit either miss or hit one of us.
That's a good call. Chase, any other ideas about what bad things could happen?
I definitely think that on the note of the tar missing several things, it could miss the eyes, obviously. He could drop some before he gets full range of motion to the throw. It could land on the floor and slow his escape. It's mostly just centered around the tar missing and doing something that we don't want it to do.
That's good. So, this risk roll, you are definitely risking your body in front of this creature. So there's a dark die. Do you have something in your... You're taking advantage of a piece of equipment, so you get a light die for that. Does anybody have a devil's bargain they want to offer him? Something that... a bad outcome that occurs regardless of the roll. You make the deal, pay the price, and get the bonus die. Anybody got any ideas?
Devil's bargain. The tar does manage to block its eyes and whatnot, but a blindness comes with an enraging. It just begins thrashing about, is much less the careful hunter that it seems to be, and is just a wild frickin' animal at that.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I kind of.
You get the extra die, but it's regardless, it's going to be enraged.
Basically, like if you put a piece of ham on a cat's head, that, but way worse.
So it doesn't like fall off a table like you see on all those YouTube videos when people do that to their cats, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna not take that bargain.
Okay. All right. So 1 dark and 1 light die.
Okay, I got a 3 on the dark and a 5 on the light.
That's good. So you
Kinda,
succeed,
yeah.
but there's a complication. I'll describe the complication, and you describe how you succeed. Oh, this is good. This is actually good. So the complication is that as you're throwing this tar, and you're going to succeed at it, Dez again slams that pillar into the ground. But this time, when that happens, the shaking in the hall, because she's got this almost overpowering superhuman strength, and one of the passageways that leads up kind of shakes also, and tumbling through comes a character that you haven't seen before. Tell us what Tully looks like.
Yes, Tully is young in spirit, also young in form. If you were told that he was anywhere from like 15 to 26, you could believe it. He's just got that like athletic frame that only someone with so much free time on their hand could have. His metabolism hasn't really kicked in yet. He's not super tall, maybe about 5'10", wiry frame. Well enough dressed, definitely not like ragged clothes, not fancy clothes. Obviously, we're dungeon diving. One of those, he's not necessarily wearing like really good hiking boots, but like really fashionable hiking boots is more the aesthetic I'm shooting for here.
He's in this dank place and he's got fresh Timberlands or whatever.
Yeah, like Timberlands.
He's wearing an LL Bean.
Yes, very much that as an aesthetic. He's not full cosplaying an adventurer, but
excellent. Oh, that's so good. So, Tully, you tumble in and you are greeted by the sight of this hulking out woman with stone dust streaming from her eyes, repeatedly slamming the pillar into the ground. This large 8-legged gray lizard with this elongated head now, and said, tell us what happens as you throw the tar on it.
Yeah, so he's got his like jar of tar, and he's just like, just starts flinging it wildly, and a few globs land where intended. And if Tully falls like near said, he'll just be like, "Are you more of you? Are you here to kill us too? Just come with us if you're not." And just keeps running.
fantastic. That ain't right. I'm with you.
And to be clear, you actually had found a different passage directly down from the surface into this. You didn't pass through the Doom stuff. You just found a
Basically.
little cave.
Basically just a pitfall and a Hilux.
Parda, this creature is thrashing about, as we noted, angrily. Its long tail barely missing your head. What do you do?
I would just run after them. I would try to maybe block it, if possible, so they don't run after us.
Okay, how are you going to do that?
Maybe knock the try to block the path. Maybe knock some of the cave in or some big rocks over so it doesn't follow us.
I think that's good. Yeah. I don't think that's particularly risky. I think you can just do that. Also,
Okay.
I want you to all to get into the next room. So, yeah, you kind of like are doing that thing where you're like you run a little bit, turn around, and push something down behind you to kind of block the way. You run a little bit more, and some of the rocks. And the last sight you have of Dez is her just looking up at the ceiling, arms wide, roaring. And as she's roaring, there's just this fountain of stone dust coming out of her mouth as she's just hulking out in there. And that is the last you see of Dez.
She with y'all, or
She was until
that?
yeah. This place is gonna kill us. And,
It'll be fine.
But just how long have you been in here? Not long, huh?
20 seconds.
Okay. Yeah. Just if we turn into that, you should run.
Oh yeah, no problem. There's a hole up there. I'm gonna just go straight.
Yeah. Definitely.
By the way, my name's Tully. Great to meet you.
I'm Sed. Sed is just like just hyperventilating.
Basically,
Yeah,
what happened if I had to
response.
run out of something? Yeah.
I'm looking pretty hurt as well. My name's Parda. Nice to meet you.
Tully gives a firm, but not like that aggressive firm handshake, just a happy intern handshake.
So Sed and Parda, your ruin has gotten up. I can't remember. Did you just take injuries, or are there any other changes to your physical form that would be visible? I can't remember.
No, I just took ruin. I just took a ruin.
I know, but I mean, when you took the ruin, sometimes that can mean getting extra warm. I just can't remember what the ruin,
Yeah.
what we did for the ruin. That's all.
So-
you had a broken foot, for example, that you've got splinted up.
Yeah.
Yes. Sed
you-
had the broken foot. Parda made the splint for it,
Right.
Yeah.
and
I know I had my hand that was turning the clay, but last session you said I took a ruin, but you didn't say there was like a lasting effect to it.
What was do you remember how you got it?
It was during a battle. One of the coffins had a trap in it. I think I was trying to set up. I was looking for it, and the trap went off.
Okay, so let's say you got injured. I don't recall now, and we're getting close to being done. So I'm not going to know about it.
I know I got injured doing it, but I don't know if there was.
Yeah.
You didn't say there was a lasting effect.
And I don't think there was anything particularly gruesome there anyway. So
Yeah.
as you kind of catch your breath, I imagine Sed kind of doing that thing where you kind of lean forward, your hands on your knees.
oh yeah, he's going between hands on knees and hands on head, because he's been told that putting his hands on his head when he's out of breath will allow his lungs to expand more.
Yeah,
Huh.
it's got to open the diaphragm.
Right. You are
Tully
in
100% does CrossFit.
You're in this finely carved stone hall, and it's lit. I don't mean it's lit. I mean
Sure.
it's lit by these magical purple lights on the walls.
Cool.
There are kegs, bottles, flasks, syringes, very thin, precise knives, almost like a paring knife, but kind of curved. Those long curved ones,
Yeah.
scattered around the room. There's a pit in the middle, kind of with like a little guardrail around it. And inside you see 6 of those fungus gobloons. But they're not crawling out of it. They're just in there looking miserable. But there is someone in here with you. Sort of. Someone or something, hard to say.
Is it like we're set? How are we? Is it just like a feeling, or
Nope. I'm going to tell you because you see the person.
Oh, okay.
You see what looks like standing up a desiccated human corpse
Fantastic.
fused with a snake tail at the waist. He's got They have fangs and teeny tiny red glowing eyes, and they are doing something with those flasks and syringes and knives and some organic material on a table, right in front of this exquisite display case of potions and elixirs. And they turn to you and they say, "Have you come to join my experiments?"
It sounds really interesting, and I'm not being sarcastic when I say that, because quite frankly, I'm real excited to get to the surface and start writing my book about what I've seen here. But I can't say I'm going to stay if I have a choice.
I do not believe that you have that choice. I seek subjects for the experiments, or, if you are appropriately qualified, an apprentice.
I was an apprentice of a kind. I was a squire.
What knowledge have you of vivisection and experimental protocols?
What exactly qualifies as knowledge of experimental protocols? I feel like that's mostly just a willingness more than a...
That's a good point.
And he points his beady red glowing eyes over at Tully, and he says, "Are you volunteering?"
I'm not saying I don't have a resume for this sort of a thing, but, like, keep your options open. By the way, my name's Tully.
Take his hand.
He
Don't
reaches out his hand, and you see it has this writhing purple glow around it.
Hand's gonna fall off.
And as he reaches out, there's a burst of shadow around him as he reaches out to touch your hand.
Well, it'd be rude to pull my hand back, so...
So you're going to keep the hand there? Okay. So he reaches out, and as he does so...
Hope you got a third character.
Oh, I've got a couple.
You feel...
alive for the first time.
Yes, and this overpowering desire. These people that you just met aren't really your companions. After all, they could be appropriate experimental subjects. What do you do?
Consider it. But quietly, there's like...
Parda and said, "What do you do as you see this this momentary explosion of shadow?"
Is there a way out of here?
Well, there's a hallway that you blocked off.
Yes.
You don't see an immediate exit. There are some wall hangings that are kind of rotted.
Some like vines or something?
No, like tapestries, kind of.
Oh.
Like wide tapestries, kind of on the walls of this chamber. But you don't see any immediate exit.
He's gonna just start saying, "These are great tapestries you got here," and gonna like start prodding them to see if there's something behind it, like a doorway that it's blocking or something.
This sounds interesting. Why don't you give me a hunt roll? Do you have so you take one light colored die just for doing this. Do you have a skill or piece of equipment that you're going to use somehow?
I have the obfuscation skill.
Okay. So you're kind of familiar with how to hide things and look at things?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, 2 light dice.
Cool. It's a 4 and a 1.
So 4. Take 1 token. By the way, the set that you are in, I should have noticed, your goal is to make a deal with or avoid this person.
Well, one of those is
Well, how many tokens do you have, by the way?
Um,
At least one.
I have 4 marked here.
Okay, so you've got 5 now. Keep in mind, you can always, at any given time, spend a token to get treasure, which, by the way, it turns out I haven't been doing treasure exactly right. If you find treasure, even if you don't spend a token, and you do a thing where there's treasure, then you get the treasure, period. Which isn't something I've exactly been doing, but it's fine. In here, behind one of the rotting wall hangings, you do find a passageway out. But that passageway is a little ways down. You can see a door. In other words, and you encounter something terrible because you rolled, what did you say, a 4?
Yep.
So the terrible thing that you encounter...
Indigestion.
You might get some indigestion.
Hay fever.
But what happens is...
hangnail.
This person that you're talking to, this desiccated walking corpse with a snake's tail, waves their hand and says, "Zizamanter has not given you leave," and that hallway suddenly is blocked by a wall of fire.
Back up. Just gonna back up.
Neat.
Hey, that's cool. I can do cool stuff too. You want to see it?
Yeah, kinda.
They grin, and you are knowledgeable in rituals?
Yes.
Show me.
I'm gonna cast my ritual, my single ritual, which is guide, which conjures a golden thread to follow to some desire.
So, this is... Anytime you cast a ritual, that is definitely a risk roll. What is it that you hope is going to happen?
Oh, this is just purely to demonstrate that he can actually use magic and cast rituals. It's really like he fully expects the golden thread to go through the fire, leading him out, because his desire is to get the hell out of here.
Okay.
But it's really like, if it led him somewhere else, he would be surprised. It's just to buy him more time with whatever. So it was a V, I think. Mr. V. Necromancer V?
He described himself as Zizamanter, but with X's.
Zizamanter.
Like Manter.
ZZ. Okay, cool.
I would want to demonstrate my ritual as well, because I haven't had a chance to use it yet.
Okay. So you can both. So we'll do said, and then kind of right after that part of it. In the fiction, they occur kind of simultaneously.
Okay.
Said, this is a risk roll. So your whatever you have to use the dark die whenever you perform a ritual. I think we determined before this is something that you're skilled at because of your training or your background. Yep. Do you want the devil's bargain?
Depends what it is.
Okay. So you were interested in it. The devil's bargain is that this thread will definitely manifest, but it will wrap itself around Tully's throat. It won't have an immediate mechanical effect.
Sorry.
What kind of goals you got? Like, I know I'm annoying, but...
Well, Sed's goal is to publish his discoveries from ancient Kaldur, which is where we are. So his goal right now is to, in order to publish them, he has to get the hell out of here. And Tully he just met, and Tully shook the hand of Zizamanter, and there's really no attachment to Tully.
That might be a way out.
What I hear is you saying yes. So that's 2 light dice and a dark die.
Yep.
And let's roll them and see what your highest is.
The highest is a 5. and that's on a dark die.
Interesting. But your current ruin is 5, yes?
Yes, yes.
So you can succeed with a complication. You're not going to take any ruin. Or you can add an additional dark die and re-roll, if you aren't happy with that.
Re-rolling, I would re-roll just one or all of them?
You would re-roll all of them, but your highest, you're not going to take any ruin because it requires your ruin to be...
Yeah.
Basically, if you roll a 6 on a dark die is what it's going to take for you. So you probably don't want to do that. So you succeed, but there's a complication. So as you do this, this thread is conjured and begins to wrap itself. It kind of comes up sort of like a magic rope, this golden thread. And instead of going the way that you came or to the hidden passage that you found, it just makes a beeline for Tully and starts winding, not pulling tight, just winding around his throat. Gently.
Some sort of leash or...
The complication, I think, is that after a moment, the Zizamander kind of takes his skeletal hands, starts conjuring something, and after a moment, he also conjures a golden thread, and it comes out and wraps around Sed's throat. Parda, what is the ritual that you're casting?
Hold.
Hold. Very good. And what does hold say that it does?
It temporarily blocks prevents passage indoors.
Okay, I dig it. So what door are you placing this warding sigil on?
Well, what I was thinking was for the bargain or whatever was, I would place it on some sort of a wall just to test it, and then that would be like a hidden door or whatever, and that would like a creature or something would I would accidentally reveal a hidden door from doing that, and a creature or something would come out.
I'm down with that. That is more than I would have done, so that's great. So that's definitely a light die for your devil's bargain and a dark colored die for your ritual. Is this something that you're skilled at because of your occupation or background, or you have...
or ritual or crafting? I could say I'm using my construction to hold the door in place or something like that.
Okay.
So I'm using my construction knowledge.
Sure, so why not? So 2 light dice and a dark die, and definitely you are going to find a hidden door with something behind it you didn't want.
Okay. So what I'm doing is doing it on a wall, but what happens is there's a hidden door behind it.
And there's something in there that you did. Yes, correct. Okay, so let's do it.
Okay.
So 2 light and 1 dark.
Or my 2 light die are 2 5s.
And what's your dark die?
A 1.
Okay. So you succeed, but there's a complication. So what does it look like as you cast this ritual?
Okay, so I'm just placing my hand casually on the side of a wall, leaning up to it. My hand is glowing, and the wall glows up, and then like a door is outlined against the wall, and it reveals itself as the ritual happens.
Right, and the door is suddenly blocked because of your spell, but from around this sealed door starts oozing out this sort of an ooze very familiar to what 2 of you saw before up in the statuary. And as it oozes around the cracks in this hidden door, it starts congealing on the floor in front of the door.
I'll start running away.
And Zizamanter says, "I see you wish to escape. One of you can be an apprentice, and the rest shall serve as subjects for my experiments?
Those are the two options, eh?
What kind of benefits do you offer as being an apprentice?
You will retain your life.
Cool, I'll be an apprentice.
I ask her if she likes games.
Ominous.
Yes. Do you like games?
Games, are you offering a challenge?
Yes, I am. And I pull out my wooden labyrinth box and set it on the bar between us. I'll make you a deal. If whoever can beat this the fastest, or if you can beat this faster than me, you get an apprentice. But if I beat this faster than you, we all can leave.
Heck yeah.
I'm just kind of slowly rummaging through the bottles while this conversation's happening. Just
With
sort
with the leash around the
Yeah.
golden magical leash around your neck.
I'm still here for the cash. But like, obviously, I'm just kind of like looking.
I think he. Let's see. Very well. You test my knowledge and abilities. We shall see. And this is definitely going to be a risk roll.
Right.
So, is this something you are skilled at? Because you're taking advantage of a piece of equipment. So we'll just keep a light-colored die for that. A devil's bargain.
Okay, I've already thought of the devil's bargain for this.
Tell me what your idea is. Let's see.
My soul transfers into the wooden box.
So the devil's bargain is regardless of the outcome of the roll, this thing happens. That's what a devil's bargain is, right?
Okay. Okay.
So the devil's so is this do you mean this as this definitely happens when I get the extra light die, or do you mean this as if things go wrong, that's what happens?
I mean, if things go wrong, that's what happens.
Okay, so that's a potential. That's a thing that it's a potential bad outcome, which is good. I dig it. Does anybody else first have a devil's bargain to offer? I've got a couple, but I want to see if sometimes y'all come up with stuff that I wouldn't have ever dreamed up. So
Nothing's coming to mind.
Nothing for you.
okay. You can take the extra light die but this, as you are doing this, I think that the ooze is going to start forming around your feet that's congealed on the floor.
Okay.
So you're going to be at significant risk when you're done from the ooze.
Okay.
Okay. So 2 light dice and a dark die.
Okay. The light die is a 1 and a 5, and the dark die is a 1.
Okay, so you succeed, but there's a complication. The GM describes the complication, and then you describe how you succeed. So, and this is in addition to this ooze starts to congeal around your feet. And additionally, the wall of fire that was behind that hidden tapestry, the tapestry now catches on fire as well, right behind said. How do you succeed with the lich? Parda?
So does the bet succeed, or what happens if?
Yeah, no, you succeed.
Okay.
Tell us how you succeed.
Okay.
Tell us what
so
does
yeah.
it look like as you're doing the maze labyrinth game thing.
Okay, so yeah, I've hidden some hidden compartments in this that would make it easier for me to help beat it faster than she expected. So I use my hidden knowledge of the game to uh, beat it faster than she expected me to.
I see. And as the Lich looks up and their eyes go even a brighter red with anger, and they say, I will allow you to leave this place, but perhaps this place will not allow you to leave. And as this happens, the ooze around you starts to crawl up your legs. You are now under attack by this thing. What do the three of you do?
That's a good question. I have a
Wait.
crossbow, so I don't feel like it's going. It will do more harm than good if it's around his feet and I shoot, potentially hitting.
I think that would just be represented by the if you get into combat, what the weak point is, and if you roll, because the way the math, like mechanically, the way it works is the more people that participate, the more likely you are to win, but also the more likely somebody is to get hurt, and that kind of in part models like friendly fire and things like that. So you, if that's what y'all want to do, we could certainly do a combat roll. What is Tully looking to do in all this?
So Tully has been ruminating because on the one hand, there's theoretically some power in apprenticeship, but not sure there's like fame and money. And I like the sun. I'm not sure if I trust these people, but I'm also not sure if I trust the creepy snake demon. So I'm thinking at this point, I'm just gonna grab one of the bottles and just yeet it at the ooze. Hopefully that helps.
Okay. And Parda, are you also fighting?
I would want to try to get on or out, see if I can step up onto the bar if I can, like off of the ground, if possible. But otherwise, if not, then I would.
Oh, this thing is on your legs. Like, you can feel it.
Okay. And yeah, I would want to try to get it away from me as well.
Okay, so this is going to be combat with that amorphous blob, this dark ooze. So for combat, everybody first roll a single light die to determine your weak point.
Two.
2, 2, and 4. Excellent. Now everybody roll a dark die to represent the combat.
4.
4, 3, and 4. So, Sed, do you have any armor left?
Oh no! Oh no! I have a weapon.
And you had 4 on your weak point, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And I have 5 ruin.
Love you, Jake.
Yeah.
And
I said.
I had 4.
you had a 4, 4, and a what?
I rolled a 4 as well.
So there were 2 4s, and what was the other roll?
A 3. I rolled a 3.
3. So your total is an 8. But you do not defeat the black pudding. Let's zoom in for a moment on how this combat turns Sed, either kills him or he becomes part of the dungeon in some way. How do you imagine this happening? Any ideas, Jake?
I would like him to be part of the dungeon.
Do you want him to be melted into the ooze, or do you want him to serve Zizamanter or something else?
Serve Zizamanter, for sure. He already said like yes to being an apprentice.
All right.
Who, me? My character?
No, Sed.
Okay.
Sed. So yeah. So during the fight, the ooze is kind of comes off of Parda, and it's y'all are shooting at it and bashing it and yeeting. And I think when I can't keep saying that word, when Tully throws one of these flasks on it, I think that it bursts, something kind of explodes out of it, and a bunch of the ooze lands on Tully. And again starts crawling in his ears and his nose and his mouth and his eyes, whatever orifices. And instead of melting you, you see his eyes start to turn in. His eyes themselves are that same black oozy material.
You said Tully, you mean said?
Said, I'm sorry, yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It said, what do you say to Zizamanter now, as you have accepted his bargain?
Will there be time for me to work on my book in between experiments or something?
You will have eternity.
Oh, fantastic.
Tully and Parda, you have not yet defeated the ooze, but you have not been defeated either. You can keep going with an additional dark die, which is good because you're not going to have the one from Said. Or you could do something else. What is it you think you try to do? You have not escaped the monster.
Yeah, I would want to try to rescue that if possible. Try to get rid of the goo from his eyes.
It's not like no. What I mean, his eyes have turned to goop, and he now takes his place at Zizamanter's side.
I'm threatened by that goo. It happens to be covering someone that is confirmed to be evil now. I'm gonna keep yeeting possibly caustic chemicals.
Excellent. And Parda, are you continuing to fight with the ooze, or are you going to try to run out?
No, I'm going to fight Zizamanter.
Oh, you're going to stop fighting the ooze and turn on the lich?
Yeah.
Okay. So, first of all, I think you're going to have to get away from the ooze to do this.
Okay, I'll do that first then.
All right. What was your weak point?
4.
4. So are you leaving the fight? Are you leaving the ooze, or are you trying to finish it off?
No, I'll finish the ooze off.
Okay. All right. So each of you two roll a dark die, and I'll roll the additional one that you get for the second round.
Another 4.
I got a 1. 4.
Another 4.
And tell me again how it is that you're fighting this thing.
I am now a little bit more frantically, rather than just throwing one thing to try and knock off someone's legs. I'm just throwing every possible bottle at the body covered in ooze and evil.
All right. And
What he said.
And Parda, what are you doing?
Well, I'm near the bar, so I'm trying to think of trying to grab things that are on the bar near me and throwing them as well.
That does not happen. So what were your 2 rolls? A
4.
4 and a 4.
Still not there.
But your weak points were 2, right? For both of you? Okay.
We both had 2, and
Right.
Seth had.
You did not take any ruin, but you have not defeated this thing. As you are throwing this stuff on it, bashing it with whatever equipment is there, and stabbing it with these flaying knives, the ooze continues to rise up against you. You ready for another round? But you'll get an extra dark die this time.
I mean, yeah, I can't run out just yet. Need to make
There's
sure.
There's no place to go right now. You've got a locked door, a door blocked by fire, and another one blocked by rubble.
Yeah, I guess we need to get through all this fire first, and to do that, yeah, just keep... One of these chemicals has got to be, like, corrosive or explosive
Some of them,
or something.
So, yeah, the next time I'm going to roll it, if we don't, I'm going to roll a die on a list and see which of these you might get. So let's see. Let's roll, each of you roll a dark die, and I'm rolling 2 dark dice.
Let's go.
I rolled a 1.
5.
So I got a 6 and a 3. So 6 and 5 is 11, which is more than what you needed to defeat this thing. Which is great. And you didn't. None of us rolled a 2. So after a moment, let's see. One of the potions in these test tubes that you throw, these vials that you throw on it, you see it start to mutate, and after a moment, this black ooze turns into oozing human flesh. And as it does, it hardens, and in that way, and solidifies. And after a moment, it's just not able to reach you anymore. Zizamanter turns to you both and says, "That was an unexpected result, one which I appreciate. And now," he turns to Ced. He says, "Take the young one, lay him on the table, and remove his skin."
Hey, Tully, can you come over here and lay on this table?
I'm using that. If I could hitch y'all back, like next weekend, got some stuff going on like.
I mean, just
skin for that.
I'm gonna throw some needles at you, if you don't just come and lay on the table.
I'm gonna maybe. How big's that wall of fire?
Well, so there's 2 fires now, right? I think it's like maybe half of maybe a third, I guess, of the overall circumference of the room.
Yeah, sure, valid. I'm going to dive through that fire, just running start, see if I can just
Good call.
hold my breath, go.
Okay, Parda, what are you doing as this happens?
I'm going to try to buy him as much time as I can, I guess. So I want to stay in the room and try to prevent that from doing anything else.
Perfect. So, there's a risk roll here for Tully.
No kidding, eh?
First of all, are you taking advantage of a piece of equipment or and the risk is the fire itself.
Yeah.
Right? The risk is clearly that you get burned by the fire. Is this something that you're skilled at because of your occupation or background, or do you have a piece of equipment or the environment that would make this easier for you?
I don't have a piece of equipment here necessarily that'll help me, and I feel like beasts climbing, alertness, and lore don't necessarily help, so I'm just going to dive and roll.
Okay, so you've got a light die from... So the Devil's Bargain...
Oh, good.
...is basically kind of already made in some sense because the other party volunteered. You're going to be getting separated from Parda. Because Parda said he was going to hang back and try to give you time to escape. And then the dark-colored die, you are definitely risking your body because you're diving through a wall of fire.
So yeah, I'll go ahead and take that.
This is a very Johnny Cash moment, I just want to say, because you fell into a burning ring of fire.
I did.
So, one light die, one dark die, let's see what happens.
Do I get one more for the Devil's Bargain, or...?
No, you didn't. No, the Devil's Bargain is the only light die you got. You didn't get the first one.
Oh, yeah! Well, that's good, because I just needed a die over there somewhere. Anyway, I got a 5, and the dark die is a 2.
So, you are going to succeed, but there's a complication. I will describe the complication, and then you'll describe how you succeed in diving through the fire into that hidden passageway. I think the complication is that whatever happens that as you get through, your cage of rats doesn't make it because the rats get roasted in the fire.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Okay, so how is it that you make it through? What does it look like?
Yeah, so just sprinting headlong, diving, like landing, not necessarily a graceful tumble, but just roll several times. The cage is still on fire, so just yeet that off to the side, burn hands a little bit, just pat self down, and just keep going.
And this passageway ends in a door. Parda, you're in this room. You kind of step between, and now you're in there with Zizamanter and Said. What do you do?
Yeah, kind of just, I'm gonna make my stand here, I guess, try to let, Tully make as much room and, as possible. Give it, then just try to distract them long enough so he can do whatever. So either talking to them, fighting, or whatever. So like trying to distract them for as long as possible first. Then until that doesn't work, then I would try to fight them.
Very well. You have made your choice. And he gestures at Parda. If you please, lay down on this table that we may remove your skin.
I would resist.
Very well. So he moves in to fight you with shadow, his hands wreathed in shadow. This is a combat. You because you don't get the second dark die until the second round. The first one you don't really have a chance to win, but he's basically just trying to survive the first round. But on the subsequent round, you can. So roll your die for your weak point.
Dark die or
light die for your weak point.
1.
1. All right. Hopefully you don't roll a 1, which hopefully you don't roll a 1 anyway. So now just roll 1 dark die.
Okay. 6.
6. Okay. Clearly 6 is not enough to defeat the monster, but you survive as he's kind of chasing you around the room, and you're like fainting and kiting and backing up and so forth. Everything all right? I know you had folks about to leave about this time. Okay. So if you wish to continue, you can now roll 2 dark dice and just hope neither of them is a 1, which you hope anyway, because you want them to roll high so you can beat this thing.
Okay, I'll roll 2 dark die. 3 and a 5.
Not enough to succeed, and yet you didn't roll a 1, so you're not taking any damage. You see Parda just skillfully dodging and rolling and so forth. You can now roll 3 dark dice to continue the fight.
All right.
Don't roll a 1.
Like Muhammad Ali up in here.
Yeah, rope-a-dope.
Well, I did roll a 1. I rolled 2 2s and a 1.
Oh.
This is the end for Parda. What happens? Does Parda get pushed into the fire? Does the lich do something to him? What do you think?
I would. What I want is that the lich did something to the magic or the labyrinth wooden labyrinth puzzle, and my soul gets transferred into.
Oh yeah, no, this makes a lot of sense. So he's holding up his hands, and the shadow begins to expand, and it reaches up, goes over, wraps itself around you, and then after a moment bursts. Said you no longer see the body of Parda, but instead you see this thing funneling directly into the labyrinth box. And you hear Zizamanter say, he will spend eternity escaping from the maze.
So, do you want me to, saying to Zizamanter, do you want me to take it apart now in the same manner you wanted me to take his skin off, or...
No, we will allow him to be in eternal mental anguish, and perhaps in some years we may observe his state of decay.
I think
you see the wooden box move by itself.
And you find yourself, yes, inside this endless labyrinth from which you have no hope of escape for eternity. Tully, you are caught between a door and a wall of fire in a stone hallway, what do you do?
Okay, so I am in the attempt at yeeting myself skyward out of this place. I don't really know what's in it, but I assume that Zizimanter is the property manager. So I am going to cast one of my rituals, which is called Mirror. Take on the form of a known person or animal.
Oh, yeah.
I would like to dress up like Tully, leave as fast as possible, and maybe get enough money to not end up in debtor's prison.
Wait a second. So you are casting the ritual mirror, you say?
Mirror.
Take on the form of what known person are you taking the form of?
Zizimander.
Oh, okay. You said I was confused. Okay, all right.
Oh,
Yeah, no. It's all good. It's all good. So this is definitely a risk roll. Is this something that you are? So you take a dark die for the ritual. Is there something? Well, so here's the thing. You're between a door and the wall. So how are you getting out? So you're just trying to cast the ritual first, right?
yeah, I'm going to cast the ritual, then go through the door and hope that it doesn't...
Assuming that you assuming that you can get to the door. So yes, is this ritual something you are skilled at because of your occupation or background or equipment?
Is Zizimander enough of a snake for them to count as a beast?
They have certainly taken on some beast-like appendages.
Are they famous enough or ideologically, like, what's the word, serpent kingishness for lore to affect?
I think that lore for a ritual makes sense anyway.
Okay.
Let's just do it.
Okay.
And then the devil's bargain.
Oh, yeah.
The devil's bargain is that you get the extra light die, but that door is locked.
Well, crap. Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay, 2 light dice, a dark die.
Neat. My highest is a 6, and that was also the dark.
So you succeed, but you are going to add 1 to your ruin, which puts you at what?
That'll put me at 4.
All right. So what does it look like when you cast this ritual?
So, I like to imagine... So we've got a lot of, like, body horror-ish kind of stuff. So Tully sort of, like, grabs any, like, loose dirt or dust and sort of just rubs it on his face, wipes it away, and that part has changed. And as the dust, like, moves down, the bones just kind of, like, shift out of the way until it creates this sort of, like, for lack of a better word, because I feel like this is the most visceral one, skin ripple just down the body as the bones crack into place and legs become tail, ribs shift to become the rest of the body, scales just kind of like fold down.
Said, back in the room with Zizimander, he waves his hand and the fire goes out. And you can see Tully. No, it's not Tully. You see a second Zizimander in that passageway in front of a door. What do you do?
Zizimanter, I feel like if you don't know this already, I think your quarry has turned into you down there.
Very well. He has no place to go. And sure enough, Tully, as you go up and try that door, it is locked. What do you do?
I would like to cast... Actually, let's not cast another ritual until I'm being pursued. I would like to use one of my random equipment pack things. I would like a lockpick, well, with there being a lock in my way.
All right. Um, I think this makes sense. So, this is risky because it may not work. What is it? You're hoping to unlock the door, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, basically just shove a shim in there, jam it around until the door pops. Continue eating thyself.
Jake and Mike, what do you think could go wrong with this?
Oh, nothing. It'll be.
What he thinks is behind the door isn't what is behind the door.
What about like the door's a mimic or whatever and it just like
That is one thing that could go wrong for sure. So, you take a light colored die because you are taking advantage of a piece of equipment. Are you willing to risk your mind or body to succeed?
Let's go for it.
Alright, so that's a dark die. And then finally, a devil's bargain.
Devil's bargain, you say?
I think that the devil's bargain is that you get the extra light die, but I think Zizabanter gets tired of this and advances on you to attack.
Bring it on, Snake Ball.
Alright, so it's 2 light dice and a dark die.
Neat. I rolled a 6. It was the dark die.
Excellent. Well, you succeed. Describe how, first of all.
So Tully is lucky far more than he is skilled. It is very obvious he's not a former cat burglar. He is not adroit with lockpicks. He was just told that locks existed in dungeons. He basically just jams a piece of metal into this antiquated lock, just rattles it around a bunch, and there's just a click. And the studio audience is just kind of like, really? That's kind of unbelievable, don't you
I
think?
hate Tully.
Valid. Very valid.
As the door swings open, there's this room that's just decorated and covered in all sorts of extravagant materials and gold and mirror and red stones. And sitting in the middle of this room on a raised dais is a extremely valuable looking golden throne.
A throne.
A
That's
throne.
not carry.
And Zizamanter advances upon you and says, "That is quite far enough, imposter," and reaches out with magic. First of all, we said that you took a ruin. This raises you to what ruin? What level?
5.
5. Yeah. And you feel that form that you took suddenly made permanent. It's no longer just a magical disguise. You can feel it hardening within you. And you now are a desiccated corpse with a snake tail.
Here's hoping that enough moisturizer helps with that, but we'll figure that out topside.
In the meantime, his hands begin to wreathe again with shadow in one and flame in the other, and he's advancing on you with combat. I need you to roll your light die for a weak point.
I would love to.
2? Alright, so roll a dark die and let's see what happens in the first part of combat.
Yeah. I rolled a 3.
Okay. Clearly not enough to defeat the Lich, but also not your 2. So, as he's just continuing to blast dark magics at you, and you are dodging and weaving and doing the same thing, how is it you are fighting back?
So, I have a sling. I feel like that's not necessarily what I'm using here. I'm basically just like swatting arms back to Tully being lucky rather than good. He has an idea. The idea is combats Zizamanter in hand-to-hand combat, possibly like grapple and like wind around and roll around a bunch. And if he's lucky enough to win, he can maybe trick Zed into being like, no, I was the real one the whole time. Dispose of the imposter. Flay it. I must rest.
Excellent. Well, now you need to roll 2 dark dice for the second part of combat.
Five and a 4.
It's 9 total. Not enough to succeed. You are grappling with this thing, and even his own magics are not quite enough to overcome you and burn you. Maybe you've somehow taken on some magic resistance from this form. Who can say? Time for round 3. Roll 3 dark dice. And hope you don't roll a 2, and hope it's high enough to overcome his total endurance.
Here goes. And also because I am a silly boy who did not consider what this session was going to be. One of them is going to be brightly colored, but we know they're all dark dice.
Fair.
A 5 and 2 ones.
Not enough to win, but not a 2. You're feeling yourself winded. Said you see just this wrestling match of 2 identical looking horrible creatures. Meanwhile, that labyrinth box is just kind of occasionally giving a little rattle.
Yeah, it's completing it by itself. The marble is going through the whole maze by itself, repeating over and over. In your mind, what you see is you are just in this enclosed maze, just running around, and there is no exit. You don't feel hunger or thirst or any. You are just imprisoned in this forever. Back to Tully. Tully, would you like to roll 4?
I would love to roll 4. Are you kidding?
Do you have another dice, or do you need me to roll another one for you? You got 4 dice?
No, I've got
Okay.
the dice.
All right, just making sure.
Four 4s.
Nice.
So 8 is not enough.
Ugh.
He is powerful. He is strong, and despite you trying to force your hand to him at every moment, he counters your move perfectly. Of course, you counter every one of his moves perfectly as his mirror. You want to push your luck? There's not much else to do at this point, I think.
Let's just go for it. I would like you to roll 1 die, though.
Okay. 5. So this is a total of 5 dark dice. I'll be honest, no matter what I roll. It rolled off the table. What you got? Oh my gosh! I can't see what the oranges are, but it doesn't matter because you have a 5 and a 6.
They're both
Black.
6s.
What? I had a 4 here.
I hate Tully. He's the worst.
Also, I want to point out, like, so realistically, luck doesn't exist. But statistically, there are lucky people. Everyone that knows me will attest I am one of those people.
So, tell me how you defeat Zizamanter.
Okay, so Tully may have done sports at one point. He's athletic, but like, so we're grappling. He's not necessarily like doing good chops or like chokes or anything, but he knows power. He just kind of like grabs, holds on, eventually manages to get like his shoulder into Zizamanter's throat, and whether or not that'll choke the snake boy out, it eventually does just pop the bones in the neck, which are important bones for the neck, and one snake stops moving, I guess.
The dude falls into a freaking dungeon accidentally and then kills a lich, like
NBD.
So what do you do as you stroll back into the experimental chamber?
So I'm going to drag Tully. I'm dragging Tully. Tully is the one I'm dragging. I am Zizamanter.
Right.
Toss him down at Sed's feet and just sort of... The imposter has been dealt with.
I guess he wasn't. Go ahead.
I grow weary. Prove yourself to me. Flay and prep this fool for my studies. I will return after repose.
I guess he wasn't so lucky after all.
No one is that lucky. Look at the camera. Wink.
As you stroll out, and as we're going to close out the session...
I'm stealing that chair. I'm stealing that gold chair.
It's very heavy to lift.
I'm just gonna drag it, like...
I think of that scene from Men in Black when Will Smith's character just starts dragging the table over to him because it wasn't in a convenient place and he needed to write. And everyone else he's just like, whatever.
Tully, you also see the labyrinth box moving by itself while you're back in that room.
Said, what are you doing with the body?
There's no like insight check for this. So
effectively, Sid is dead. I'm ruined. I'm just curious how you want to flavor it.
I put him on the table, and I take a bunch of the... He has no experience in vivisection. He's just gonna grab a bunch of those needles that you described were everywhere and just start like poking and prodding and... Yeah.
You applied for a job that you're wildly unqualified for and still got it. Are you me?
And the very last camera shot, as it were, pans away from Sed to an unassuming jar at the bottom of one of the cabinets, and we see it start to glow and pulse.
Oh, heck yeah, Lich.
As the soul jar that holds his life force begins to energize.
Tully's never coming back here again.
And with that, we close. Wow. So Parda is an eternal mental torment. Sed is a Lich's assistant. Dez is a monstrous She-Hulk, partly made of stone. Arab is goop. And Tully is forever changed into the form of undead, and who knows what will happen when the Lich reforms and is quite angry.
But Tully's not dead yet. Join us next week on
Gentlemen, and Kaya, who isn't here this week, and I hope you're driving safely back home, because she was out of town for the weekend. Thank y'all so much for playing this with me and for bearing with me as I was figuring out this system. It was
fantastic.
Yeah, it's fun.
I'll definitely play this again.
I want to a couple of thanks to Michael Gelfi again for the sound effects and music that he let us use. You can see him at Michael Gelfi, GHELFI.com. It's fantastic stuff, and he's got his links there to Bandcamp and so forth. So thank you very much for permission to use the sound for that. Thank you to Variant Roles for hosting us here on this channel where we live. I know we'll go around and do all of our kind of individual things in a moment, but I definitely wanted to get out those things. And then also, of course, to Jesse Ross and The Gauntlet for this fantastic game. I have learned a lot here, and one of the things that I have learned is that if you pitch it to the right people and folks kind of buy into the concept from the beginning, right? There was no bait and switch here, right? We talked originally about what this game would be. people will lean into the play to lose thing, which was such a delight, and so I will definitely be running some Trophy Dark. I'm probably going to not run it on stream at first, but I will, hopefully with some... I don't think any of the three of you are going to PAX Unplugged that I know of.
I'm not.
I'm going to try to...
Next year.
But I will be running... I'm going to try to run some there, just kind of with some of the Variant Roles folks who are going. And then definitely in December, we have some cool stuff coming up on Variant Roles that Dan will be, or the appropriate folks will be announcing when we get there. But I'm hoping to participate in that and do some Trophy Dark stuff there, which is the kind of original version of this game, which doesn't have all the gold and tokens and all of that, but does have the group proceeding through different stages of their incursion into the haunted environment that doesn't want them there, and is very much more about both the body horror and the psychological horror, and potential betrayal between the group is specifically called out. So I'm sure that's going to be fine. I'm sure that's going to be not creepy at all. If it's not creepy at all, we'll fail.
It'll be great.
It'll be great. I'll be running that more often, I think. And those are they're ultimately best as one-shots, I think, because of the way they go. So just doing some of that. As noted last week, Trophy is going to have a Kickstarter coming up, I think, next year, where they will have a book for Trophy Dark, a book for Trophy Gold, and then what they call Trophy Loom, which is the implied setting of this game, but presented in random tables. So you can already kind of see some of the major NPCs listed and some kind of implications about the world, and that's kind of how they want to continue to present things. So it's going to be cool. Let's go around, and I would just like, in addition to telling us, if there's anything people can, find you doing, or where people can, chat with you or talk to you, where people can find you. Also, what your favorite tragic and or horrifying moment was from today. I'm really curious. So let's start with Chase.
Yeah, I am Chase. You can find me at @Fromonger on Twitter. On Saturdays, I stream with Kyle over on his channel, Techno Scald. We've got a Blaze in the Dark campaign going there that is ramping up, we'll call it. It's at 7 o'clock Central. It's fantastic. Check us out. My favorite horrifying moment was 100% when Parda got trapped in his puzzle box forever. Right after, we have the fantastic climactic moment of, deal with the devil, play a game, beat them, and we win. And then we still get trapped in a labyrinth forever.
That's why it's a devil's
It's hell. It's a hell we made for ourselves.
I have no mouth and I must scream. Yeah, no, that was fantastic. Jake, how about you?
Hey everyone, I'm Jake. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jake Friday. And my favorite horrifying moment was probably when Dez, as Stone Dez, just started spewing the dust from her mouth. Yeah, that freaks me out.
Cool. And you play on
Oh, right. Good call. Thank you, Kyle. So Wednesdays, not this Wednesday, but I believe on the 11th of December, we start back up again. Dungeons and Deductibles. We have 2 episodes left this season, and
what a name.
It's fantastic. And it's getting real weird, and we found the big bad, and things are looking horrible, which is, what more can you ask for?
Apparently it's what we like around here.
Yeah.
Is the big bad like an insurance adjuster?
Last season it was Chaos from the commercials. The guy.
Oh, Mayhem.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember what insurance company it is. It's Allstate, I think, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. So he's one of the warlocks in the party's patrons, and this time this evil is called the Watcher. I haven't put together how it's going to relate to our insurance theme, but it will.
Sure. Um, Mike,
Um,
anything you've got going on the internets?
you can find me at Silent Chariot on Twitter or on Twitch. Here and on in mid December, you can find me in a stream on Twitch at Mustang Arts. I'll be in a Death House First Strahd campaign, which I'm excited for.
Fantastic. And Mustang Arts is cool.
Yeah.
I have seen them on some other stuff, and they are really good peoples. I think you played with them in the
Yep.
one shot. I think that's how I met you, right? The
Yep.
one shot with Samwise. Yeah,
Yep.
cool. No, they are super cool, and I look forward to that. And Death House is so good.
Yeah.
What was your favorite kind of dangerous or horrifying or tragic or whatever moment today?
My favorite demise of the game was Tully being caught despite me sacrificing myself for him to escape.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Love you, thanks.
Um, so I'll go a little bit in reverse. My favorite horrifying moment. Well, so first of all, yes, just the idea of being trapped forever in a labyrinth from which you can never escape and yet never die, and just being there. Oh, that's some psychological horror to
Literally
me right there.
Kafkaesque.
Yeah, like
Literally.
I need to not think about like I need to run free. I need to take a walk in a big open field today, and just be like open fresh air, which is unusual for me. But wow. The other thing that I love is I always love games that or anything that ends kind of ambiguously. Ever since I was a kid in middle school, I read The Lady and the Tiger. And so ending with the soul jar starting to animate is I didn't think that would happen, but I love that with liches that is the thing. So as noted, you can find me here, not here. You find me on Twitch on my personal channel TechnoScald on Saturday nights at 7 Central with Chase and some other good friends and fine folks playing Blades in the Dark. Also on my channel during the week, I stream EVE Online, which is a spaceships MMO. I mostly do exploration and rescues and peaceful stuff like that. What else? You can find me on Twitter at TechnoScald, and then obviously in the Variant Roles Discord and a few other Discords of various role-playing communities like So Maddie Games and folks like that, who is also just a fantastic place. Here on Variant Roles, we have some stuff coming up. Tonight, in about 4.5 hours, yes, at 7 Central, is as in Alaska, Darkness Beckons, using Urban Shadows, which is, if you like darkness, that's it. This channel kind of has a brand, I guess, at this point, which it didn't start out with this brand, but it has definitely evolved into like tomorrow night is Grim Femmes at 5 p.m., which is I believe Emma Hansen's game and Dwarf Cricket, and she is so good with that. Overlight, I'm not familiar with. I haven't gotten to see what Overlight is yet. Nerd Out, I guess they're going to run one this week. I think this week is the last one. I believe there's one or two more, which is our own Kaya from this game, we miss you, we love you, we will play with you again soon, our friend, but I'm glad that you got to have a chance to do the stuff that you wanted to do this weekend. She is, what people don't know is that like she actually is like a professional film student and producer and like works in this stuff, and she did these fantastic interviews of TTRPG folks at Gen Con, and so season 1 I think has 1 or 2 sessions left, 1 or 2 episodes left, and is premiering here at 6 p.m. Central. I do everything in Central because that's just the times that I see because that's where I live. On Tuesday, she has interviewed everybody from Tall Squall to Matthew Foreman to our own Taryn to a few other folks about things that they are passionate about. It's high production quality, and more important, it's fantastic conversation about cool stuff, whether that is mental health or brewing beer, or I can't remember if there's a cost, but I think Tall Squall was about fitness and even if you're getting started late in life, which I identify with. Dungeons and Deductibles, as noted, on Wednesday 6:30 p.m. rather, Central. Project VHS. Is it done? It's not done yet, right?
I don't think it's done yet.
Okay. I don't think it's good. I'm assuming it's not happening this Thursday because that's a holiday here in the U.S., but maybe it is. And then Saturday mornings, they're still, I think, doing Descent into Avernus with Eugenio Vargas, DM Jazzy Hands. And anybody who knows Eugenio knows that Jazzy Hands is the perfect descriptor for him. But he's fantastic. He's such a good DM. So if you get a chance to watch that, yeah. And then next Saturday, I think VR Reviews is going to have something as well. And I think that is Corey Hickson. I could be wrong. Don't hold me to that. But I think that he's doing those. So anyway, so many good things happening here. Thanks for hanging out with us. It's been a blast, gentlemen. I've had a good time playing this with you. Some of you, Jake and Mike playing for the first time, and Chase continuing to play, and hopefully we'll do more stuff again.
Definitely.
Cool. Let us find somebody to raid. There's not really a lot of people watching, but
I'm so used to streaming on your channel. I'm like, hey, Variant Rolls is streaming. Oh wait, that's us.
Fair. Trying to see if there's anything good. I always try to go look at the tabletop RPGs category first, so it's not always just D&D, D&D. But I don't see any. There's a fundraiser. I don't know much about it, but I've seen it mentioned for Fuck Cancer Roll Dice. I think they're a little bit on a break, but that's worth supporting. So let's raid them.
Yeah.
I mean, this channel has follower, subscriber, only chat. Well, we can still go watch it.
Still watch.
And follow and say hi. All right, cool. See y'all there.
Bye.